Hey guys, I'm going to talk today about creating master pages. So I kind of want to walk you through that process so that you understand how master pages work and also how to use those to create page numbers and do some other things with your magazine project. So the first thing I'm going to do is open a new document, and here are a couple things that I'm going to look through and change. You are doing an 8-page magazine. So I'm going to change the number of pages to 8, and I'm going to change my start page number to 1 so I do have an actual cover page with that. This facing pages box should be checked. That makes it so that your pages aren't all vertically lined up, but the spreads, the page 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, etc., are actually facing each other, and it looks like a spread instead of single pages. You can change to a different page size. You might want to explore some actual magazines, and kind of look at what their sizes are. Letter is just 8.5 by 11, which in picas, of course, there's 6 picas in an inch, so it's 51 by 66 is the size of that document. For the purposes of this magazine, I'm going to create 3 columns on it, and that's pretty typical of, say, Time Magazine or Sports Illustrated. You're going to see a lot of 3-column grids. I'm going to leave the gutter at 1 point, or 1 pica, sorry. And then the margins right now are set at 3 picas, which if there are 6 picas in an inch, that means you have half-inch margins right now. And I'm going to change that to a 1/4-inch margin, which I just kind of know is 1p6. Now you notice when I change that, if this chain is unbroken, right? If it's linked together, then when I change one of those margins, it changes all 4 of them automatically, which is a nice little time saver. So you don't need to worry too much about that. Bleed and slug, I can show that to you. Right now I don't have any all the way around. I can put on a bleed line here, and this some of your magazine companies, if you're actually publishing a student magazine, are going to want you to set up a bleed line, which is helps your students understand where the bleed should go to if they are bleeding pictures. Ours is 0p9, and again, that's linked, so it changes all of those. And we're not going to worry about slug right now. So those are some of the pieces that I've changed. I'm going to click OK, and it's going to create that document. You can see how it's got the margin line or the column line on it, and also how we have this sort of reddish line around the outside. That's your bleed line. And so what that does is, if you have a photo that's going to go all the way across the page and you don't want any white space on the edge, that bleed line is what's going to that's going to be where your bleeding pictures should extend to, so that they don't accidentally get chopped in a way that puts some white space around your page. Okay, so we've set up our page, and you can see if I scroll through it, the first one is single, and then all of the others are 2-page spreads, except for the last one. Okay, and those are my 8 pages. I'm going to actually get my Pages menu. It's here on my setup. If yours isn't there, you can always go to Window at the top and go to Pages, and it's going to pull up the same menu. All right, and you can see here where I've got sort of a layout of what my pages look like. I can extend that bar so you can see all of them at the same time. And I can switch from page to page. By double-clicking, it'll actually jump me to that particular page so that I know where I am. Master pages are going to be important as far as setting up your page numbers and putting some things on there that might actually be used all the way through. So I'm going to double-click on my master page. And what you want to remember not to do is actually design on the master page. We've all done that before. It's a very common mistake. You start laying out your page, and then you realize you're on your master page, and it's designing it all the way through on every single page, because that's what the purpose of the master page is. I always feel silly when I get to a point where I've done that, but it's an easy fix. You would just select everything that's on that master page and cut it, and then go to the page that you want to be on and paste it. But here, we're going to use our master page to actually put some pieces on here. So let's see if we can extend our box a little bit to give us as much room as we possibly can have to get the best view of our page. Okay, so I'm on my master page, which means that anything that I design here is actually going to appear on every page in the document. So let's say this is a good place to do your folios and your page numbers, so you don't have to do them individually on every page. And they generally are going to look the same wherever you go. So I'm going to draw a line. We'll make this a real basic one, but you can come up with whatever design you want. And I'm going to change the stroke on that line. I usually like thinner lines, but just for the purposes of being able to see it, let's go with a 1-point line. Okay, and if I take my guides off, you can see that that's where my line is. I just hit W on my keyboard, and then I hit W again. So there's that line. I'm going to copy and paste it, and actually I'm going to copy Command C, and then I'm going to paste in place, which on a Mac is Shift Option Command V, which pastes it directly on top instead of offset. And I'm going to hold my Shift key, and I'm going to drag that line that I just copied to the bottom, so that now I've got one at the top and at the bottom. And then I'm going to select both of those. I'm holding my Shift key, and I select both of those lines at the same time. And I'm going to Command C again to copy, and I'll show you where that is. Rather than paste, which offsets it, I'm going to paste in place. Shift Command Option V. And now I'm going to hold my Shift key so I know that I'm dragging them in a straight line. And I'm going to put those at the top of the other page. So now I've got a page that looks like that. Pretty simple. And you certainly don't have to do lines at the top and the bottom, but you might want to take a look and see what some of the folios are. Maybe look back at your graphics notebook and kind of see how folios are done and take a look at some different ways to do that. The other thing that we're going to do is create a page number on here, and we're going to use a really cool function called auto page number. Okay, and we're going to put page numbers on the page. They always go to the outside. So on the left-hand page, it's going to be down in the left-hand corner. And on the right-hand page, it would be on the right-hand corner, at the top or at the bottom. Let's do them at the bottom here. I'm going to zoom down to where I can kind of see that. And I'm actually going to drag this line in a little bit, maybe, to give myself a little space. Okay. I'm going to use my text tool and draw a text box kind of where I want that page number to be. And then I'm going to go now to type at the top, and I'm going to go down to the bottom, and I'm going to insert special character. And then I'm going to click on markers. And under markers, I have a choice that is called current page number. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to just give me a letter A, and that did what I want it to do. It shows up as an A on your master page, but in each of the pages in the document, it will actually show up as the page number. Now I can position this wherever I want, and I can change the font. So let's go with maybe Helvetica Neue, and we'll do condensed black. Okay, and it's 12 point. Maybe I want a slightly smaller point size. And then I actually want to position that properly. So I'm going to drag that down. I'm going to put my guides back on so I can kind of see where I am. And this page number should be sort of right in the corner there. And then I can extend this line back to it. Now remember, in a multi-page document, let's say this was a yearbook, and you'd get up to triple-digit pages, you'd want to make sure you leave enough room to design with all of the pages. So that happens quite often where it looks good if it's page 8, but it looks totally different if it's page 302. So you want to make sure that you've designed it so that you've got all of the pages accounted for. Okay, again, I'm going to copy. This time I'm just going to paste so I can see it. I'm going to zoom out, because now I need to get one on the other side. So I'm going to drag this copied one over to my other side, and then I'm going to zoom back in. And let's get this positioned properly. So again, I'm going to put that line over. This one, I want to actually align to the right. So I'm going to just use the shortcut Shift Command R to align that on the right-hand side. Let me make sure I did that right on the other side. So is it lined up? So I put that kind of right on the line there. Looks like I need to bring it down just a little bit so that it's actually sitting on that line. Let's do the other one kind of the same way. Okay, so I've got those page numbers on there. And now, if I go to my pages, if I click on page 2 and I zoom in, you can see where I've got the line that's created, and this will say page 2 and page 3. It automatically puts whatever page you're on in the document, it automatically puts that page number on it. There's page 7 and page 6. So you see how that works to get page numbers on all of your pages. Now the other thing that I want to show you is typically you would not have a page number on page 1. And so here's my cover page. And you know, again, this is the cover of your magazine, so you're really probably not going to put a page number on there. If you decide that there are pages within your document that you don't want the master pages attributes to apply to, you have an option in this pages palette where I've got a document master and I've got none. And I can override the master by clicking on the none and just dragging that onto page 1. And you see how that disappeared. So now I've got a totally blank page for 1. And if I click on 2 and 3, I still have that document set up all the way through for my actual page numbers. So that's how you would override that if you didn't want that in there. Okay, so we're partway there, maybe not halfway there because you actually have to do the designing, but this will give you a good start towards actually laying out that 8-page magazine that you're doing this week. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.